Welcome back to Playful Whimsies. Today I'm just going to be doing something that I saw previously on another YouTube. Just see if I can replicate or even change the way this looks. I am not an artist. I'm going to repeat, not an artist. Enjoy art. I enjoy painting. I like gradients. I like color. But, you know, I don't do this for a living. I don't know all the skills. I did learn a few things. I learned that a little bit of watercolors go a long ways, especially when you learn how to use them. This, what I'm using here, is just a simple paint from Walmart. Just some paints. And right now, this time, I'm choosing pink because Valentine's Day is coming up. Oh boy, is Valentine's Day coming up? Valentine's Day was once known as Saint Valentine's Day. I don't really know much about its origins. I think it's another Roman holiday, but I'm not sure. And to be honest, I'm not going to look it up right now. My family always did something nice for each other on Valentine's Day. Nothing huge. My dad would try to be extravagant for my mom, but she didn't really care for a lot of the gifts he would give her. So I always have a problem with holidays that require gifts. In part because I've never had the money that I felt that I should have to give people what I really want to give them. And also in part because my expectations are either fathomably high or very, very low, and it doesn't matter what they are, I'm always going to be sad. I don't really like holidays a whole lot. This time of year is really hard for me, specifically because of my seasonal depression. I'm really fighting it this year. I bought a UV light that my cat has decided is the best thing to lean against when I turn it on in the morning. Other than that, I'm also trying to make sure I wake up earlier so I can go for walks that help me relieve some stress. And this year has been my hardest year because, of course, I lost my mother. But no, I'm not really a particularly holiday person. I like to be. I always have too many expectations for myself too. It's not just the people around me, but I think it's more I want to make everything better for everybody around me. And I just feel helpless. I'm sure other people understand that. And yes, in case you're wondering, I am seeing a therapist. It's been kind of hit or miss lately because, we're all humans down here and people get sick and they have family and they have illnesses. And so it's been kind of hard. This part of my life is frustrating. I had some diagnoses beginning of last year, which threw me for a loop. And it's not that they were, unexpected. It's just that they had come 20 years late. And I'm, I now know why it's been so hard on me with my, you know, being a woman. But I'm in my 40s and not likely to have a baby at this point in my life. You know, um, and it is something that I talk to my therapist about a lot, because it's an expectation. We all grew up with the expectation, at least I did in my community. The expectation was you'd grow up and sometime after college, you would get married and you would have babies. And then you could raise your babies and teach them your values and your morals and all of that kind of stuff. And then the babies never came. Except for the one. And I'm not even sure that was real at this point in my life. Been too long. But oh, I wanted to be a mother so bad. And I know there are other ways. And at this point, I am a mother, but not in the traditional sense. And I love my kids, and I love my grandkids. But it still hurts a little bit. I think it always will. At least until I can talk to God and find out His take on it. But without getting too sad about it. Yeah. So I saw this YouTube where this woman was painting. And I thought, that looks like it would be fun. But I'm going to do my own take on it because I love colors. I'm not actually as fond of pink and red. But my basis for this is pink and red, and some of it looks a little more like salmon once it dries, but I've got to let this dry. For those of you new to using watercolors like this, get yourself a squirt bottle, spray it on the full spray setting instead of like stream setting. You don't want it to be close, you want it to be far away, mist it, and you will activate your watercolors, and that helps these little chalk things to give you more pigmentation. Now, the more wet they are, the more pigmentation they are. But also know that this is going to fade a little bit because that's just what happens. But I'll come back with the part 2. I just thought I would pop on and share this little project. Go ahead and do your own gradient project. I, in fact, am going to start a second one here. I like to keep one specific color grade here, and I know that I could just, because it's watercolor, you don't have to use a lot of watercolor, no matter what you're doing with it. But because I wanted to do this slightly differently, so I'm going to do this one in blue. Sorry about that. Spray the paper down because I want it a little bit wet. See, that's kind of dark. So what I can do is I don't even have to change which tile I use. If I want to make it all one color, I can do it that way. And yes, I'm going to have to wash this afterwards. This is my book setting, believe it or not. And I will get back to the books. Again, it's just been a really hard season for me. And I know it's going to get better, but it takes time. Sometimes the best thing I can do is just keep doing something. Even if it's not a lot, even if it's not, getting back on a pre-scheduled, I'm going to read this book and that book. I can't do it right now. In fact, I'm barely listening to books at the moment because they've just not been super helpful for me right now. Okay, so this is the cool thing about watercolors. You can make them lighter and you can make them darker, all depending on what you do. Like I said, you don't have to use any darker colors, any other colors if you don't want to. All you have to do is play with the water. As you could see, my colors were starting to dry out, and I didn't quite get the shade I wanted, so I just sprayed them. Put a lot of pigmentation, and then I forgot to put some more water on it. If you do use one pigmentation like I'm doing right now, make sure you spray it while you're painting because they dry out. Did you know you can actually use makeup, to do watercolors? I thought that was pretty cool. You can also use watercolors for makeup, but we won't talk about that. When I was a girl, my mom didn't like makeup. So I used to get watercolors and paint my face to look like a cat. I guess because that's what I wanted to look like the most. And so she would come in and my face would be painted and she wouldn't say anything. And I think it was because she knew it was washable. And even if I didn't want to wash it out, she would end up washing it out for me if I didn't wash it out when I was told to. Of course, I got in trouble. My generation, it was a mess around and find out. In the nice verbiage. My husband likes to say it in the full verbiage, but I try not to use foul language or strong language. Doesn't always work, but I do try. Mostly because of working in public service for so many years, working in the public eye. First of all, I don't want to be thought of as a crass person. And in my day and age, when I was younger, if you used strong language, you were a crass woman. You were not well educated or not kindly. And since I want to be known as a kind person, decently educated, not overly educated, I think I've been overly educated, honestly. But at the same time, I don't think it's stuck properly. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like there's something wrong with my brain, but that's okay. I think everybody has those feelings now and then. In fact, I think everybody feels like an alien now and then, like they don't really belong here. Maybe that's our soul reminding us that we don't really belong here. This isn't our home. And sometimes we try to forget that, try to make this into our home, but it's not. And that's okay. This world is not my home. I'm trying to keep everything going in the same direction. It's one of those tricks. And giving it different grades of blue. So what I've been up to lately has been working. I have been making different things, different toys, and I'll probably have more to show you as time goes by. But for now, this is where I'm going to end it. I have these two things. Once they dry, I will come back and we will work on part 2 of this little art blog.